The missile strike on the central market of Grozny, or the monstrous, barbaric act of intimidation carried out by the Russian occupation army on October 21, 1999, on the central market of the capital of the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria. According to the Associated Press, more than 140 Chechen citizens became victims of the Russian monstrous, barbaric, brutal act of mass murder, and more than 400 people were injured, of whom many died immediately upon arrival at hospitals. Severed limbs, shattered bones of arms, legs, disfigured faces, severe penetrating craniocerebral wounds, severe blood loss, broken organs, torn muscle tissue and so on. According to the doctors themselves, medical staff, volunteers and eyewitnesses, the scene of the incident, as well as the corridors and operating rooms in hospitals themselves, were literally flooded with people's blood. The witnesses of those events still hardly talk about all this horror, and many of the Chechens who left for Europe after those events are still undergoing post-traumatic rehabilitation. After the massive global criticism and hype for such a monstrous, inhuman act of mass murder of Chechens, the reaction of Russians was highly expected. At first, they strenuously hushed up this topic, and then, when they were still forced to respond to the press, they came up with all sorts of versions of what happened that defied sound logic. For example, Russian generals from the highest offices, being aware of even every cartridge produced in Russia, claimed that these missiles did not even belong to them at all and that they did not even know where they were fired from. The staff of the Russian Federal Security Service generally proceeded from the absurd version that the Chechens themselves simply stored and sold these ballistic missiles on an open market in the middle of other food products, where passing crowds of people without absolute fear didn't ask themselves the question what ballistic missiles were doing in a regular market. And the Russian deputies were generally glad that these missiles hit the Chechens. They said on camera that not enough Chechens had been killed. Naturally, Russian television itself did not stand aside, hiding the mass crimes of its mafia government in a foreign country as much as possible with the theme of evil and dangerous Chechens. Neither the mass killings by the Russian army in Samashki, in Aldi, in Bamut, nor Grozny, which was wiped off the face of the earth, nor the massive bombing of the whole country, which did not stop for 10 years, nor the murders and tortures of Chechens in concentration prisons, arrests, kidnappings, rapes. Nothing was condemned and honestly investigated by the Russians themselves, who have chosen Putin and promoted him all these years. Putin is a product of the Russians. Yesterday's voters and Putin's fans, when Putin no longer needed their services, quickly moved, some to Europe, some to the United States, and some to Canada, and under the brand of the opposition and good Russians, depict a stormy struggle, but the struggle is solely for his place as emperor, and not for the rights of those oppressed by him nations. They want to take away his power, but they don't want to get rid of his ambitions, they want to inherit them.